Hello beautiful and amazing people, welcome back to another beautiful tutorial. How are you all doing? Hope you're all generally fine and I hope you're doing good today. Guys, let's dive into today's one as I'm going to show you how to make this very beautiful princess dart bustier dress with the trending built up collar neckline. Yes, we're going to be doing this today, and of course I will start with my pattern paper because it's ideal I draft this on my pattern paper for clarity purpose. Okay, yes, before transferring it to my main fabric, and you can see I have it all with my marking tools, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to start marking what 4 inches. Can actually do 3 inches. So this 4 inches is just for you to have enough space to be able to create what your built up neckline. And that's what we're going to be doing much later, okay? Yeah, so we're just going ahead to mark that down 4 inches. You can see I'm making a straight line there. Then from that point, we can now start marking our other vertical lines. So just to let us concentrate on the lower part, so I just have to fold it in. All right, so now I'll start marking my vertical line. So I'm starting now with the chest line at 9. The bust point I'm working with is 11.5. The under bust 14.5. The waistline at 17. The hip line at 24. Then the actual length of the dress. So my pattern paper was not actually up to my desired length. So of course what I did was, when I was done, which I will do later, I will place it on my fabric, then I can now extend it to my desired length. I hope you understand. Yeah, so that's it. So just going ahead now to repeat the same process so I can get a perfect straight line there. So going ahead to make my lines. After that, I went ahead to label it all, just like you see. Now the next thing is to create our shoulder width using our regular 3 by 8 inches mark. You can see me marking my 8 inches from the unfold there. I'm also marking 3 inches. At the 8 inches, I came down by 1, right? Then I'm going ahead to connect it. So this is my slope. So the shoulder width that I am working with is 16. So divide 16 by 2, then we have 8. So you can see me going ahead to mark my 8 inches all the way to the chest line. Then after that, I made the straight line. Now from that slope to my chest line, I measure what I have. Whatever it is, you divide it by 2, and that will be the midpoint. At that point, go in by 0.5 inches. Then you can create your armhole curve. Don't forget, this is the front piece. You can see we have it on fold. And so this is the front armhole. Now, the next thing I do now is to go ahead and indicate the body circumference. So on my chest line, I'm working with 38 divided by 4, and that was 9.5. Then on the waistline was 36 divided by 4. I marked my 9 inches there. Then on the hip line was 44 divided by 4. I marked 11. Then on the lower length also, I also marked the same measurements with the hip. So for you, if you want it to be penciled, you can always take away 1.5 inches or 2 inches on the lowest part, okay? But I want it to be straight, so I just left it like that. So you can see I'm connecting all the points from the hip to the length of the dress, now connecting it to the waistline and then to the chest line. And here we have the side drafting. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to create my princess dart effect. So I'm going to work with the nipple to nipple distance, which is the same thing as your bust span. And I'm working with 8 divided by 2, and that is 4. So from the chest line there, you can see me marking my 4 inches all the way to the end of the dress. You can see this. So going ahead now to also create my straight line. You can see I'll go ahead and connect all the points towards my straight line. So now we can start creating our bustier effect. So here we have it. You can see after my straight line now, then I'll come to the from the under bust line. I'm going to mark 1 inches on both sides, okay? 1 inches on either side there. So you can see I'm going ahead to mark that down. 1 inches on this side, 1 inches on the other side. So I'm going to repeat this process to the end of the dress. So I'll go ahead and mark that all the way. You can see what I'm doing, marking it all the way, 1 inches on both sides till I get to the end of my dress. I'll also go ahead and connect it all, and that gives me a straight line. Now I'll come to the bust point. I will move up by 1 inch, right? You can see that 1 inches point there. That 1 inches point, I will now connect it to my under bust on both sides in a curvy manner. That's to create my lower cup there. You can see me using my curve ruler to connect it, and that's already giving me my curve right there. You can see this, and on the other side as well. And so that's it now. All right, so the next one now is to get the midpoint of what I have on my armhole there. I'll measure whatever it is I have. I'll divide it by 2. When I measured it, I had about 9.5. So when I split it into 2, and that was like 4.75. So I indicated that point there. You can see. And of course, that point, I now connected it to the 1 inches point above the bust point. I hope you understand. In a curvy manner as well, you can see. So guys, you can see we've created our Bustier effect. You can see this now. So I'll go ahead and extend that point by 2 inches. You can actually do 1.5 or 2 inches. The reason why we usually extend this is so that when you start sewing towards the armhole part, you will not have any shortages, okay, because of the bust curve, right? Yeah. So then now the next thing I'm going to do now is to replace my dart. Definitely I have to put in my dart and my allowance, but first of all, I'm putting in my dart, and you can see the dart we have there is 2 inches all the way, like 1 inches on both sides. That's 2 inches. So I'm going ahead you can see me replacing the dart all the way down to the end of the dress. So it's very important, because by the time you sew your dart, you will still have it intact. If you don't put this dart allowance, you definitely have shortage in your your fabric cutout. Okay, so you can see I've replaced my dart. Now the next thing I'm supposed to do is also to put in my allowance, but I cannot do that now because you can see my pattern paper does not extend out. So all I need to do is to take note of that. When I place it on my fabric, when I'm going to cut it out on my fabric, then I can now fix the extra allowance that I need. Okay, yeah, so for now, this is what we have. So all I need to do now is to go ahead and also reconnect my armhole. You can see what we have there. So I'll go ahead and reconnect my armhole all the way. So when I fix in my other seam allowance on my fabric, I'll still extend the armhole as well. So you can see our princess bustier is ready. Now, moving over to the neckline, now we're going to be fixing a neck measurement and working with a neck width of 3, which is ideal. Remember, this is a collar, and when it has to do with collar, the neck width is usually between 3.5 thereabout, depending on the size of the person. But the easy way to calculate that is you use the bust circumference of the person and divide it by 12. For me, my bust was actually 38. When I divide by 12, I have about 3.1, but I still went ahead to use 3 anyway. Okay, so I'm using 3 as the neck width here. Then this is the front piece. I'm also using 3 as the neck depth. Okay, 3 as the neck width, 3 as the neck depth. You can see this now. And that's it, guys. The front piece is ready. You can see spreading it all open. The next thing, of course, is to create our built-up collar. But what I did now was to set this aside. I wanted us to draft out the back pattern. So when we are done drafting the back pattern, then we'll now concentrate to create the collar effect. Okay, so I'll set this aside. So for my back piece, you can see I already drawn some my lines, which are very, very similar to what we have for the front, right? You can see. And we have all the lines, the vertical lines, the chest line, the bust line. The only line that is not here is the under bust, because we don't need it. This is the back piece, and I'll be doing a straightforward princess dart. And you can also see that I have my zipper space. I wanted to fold that 4 inches at the top, but the paper was extended, so I don't want it to get torn off, so I just left it like that. So I'm just going ahead to repeat similar process. You can see I'm creating my slope, just like we did for the front piece. So I might have to rush this part because it's just the same thing. Creating the armhole there, and also going ahead to fix all my body circumference. It's just same thing for the front piece, okay? Yeah. So when I was done with that, I also went ahead to create the nipple to nipple distance, which was 4 inches for my dart. I hope you can see. So at this point, the similarity for the front and back kind of ended. So now, the next thing I'll do now is to get the midpoint of my armhole. So like I said, I'm using a straightforward princess dart here, so there's no dart effect on this one. I'm just going to work with the straight line. So just getting what I have on my armhole, whatever it is, get the midpoint, which means you divide whatever you measure by 2. and also had about 9.5 as well, and I divided it by 2, and that was 4.75. So from that bust point, I just moved up by 1 inches, you can see. Then I'll go ahead and create my curve. And it's as simple as that. That's just it. This is just it for the back piece. You can see there was no extra darts here and there. Straightforward. Then of course, still go ahead and extend it by 2 inches, just like we did, to eliminate any shortages towards the armhole. You can see that extending it by 2 inches. And that's it, guys. So the next thing, of course, I'll do is to go ahead and fix in my seam allowances. So you can see there's no dart to replace here. So all I need to do is to fix in the actual allowance that I need. And I'm going to be working with 3 inches. Yes, 3 inches for my allowance. Okay. And go ahead and mark it all the way to the end. You can see this. Then I also go ahead to connect it. So my back space, you can see I have enough space on my pattern paper, so I put in all my allowance, unlike my front piece that when I place on my fabric, I'm still going to extend the side allowance. I hope you remember. Yeah. So going ahead to now recreate my armhole, and that is it, guys. You can see the front piece is just straightforward. You can see we're done. We're done. Just like that, we're done here. All right, so the next thing, of course, I'll do is to go ahead and also create the neckline. But the paper was kind of, distracting me a bit, the excesses. So I just have to take off the excesses by the side there, okay, so that we can have space to work it very well. So this is it now. So I'll go ahead and fix my neckline. Remember, we are working with a neck width of 3, right? So I mark that down. Now, because this is the back piece, remember it's a collar, then I'm using a neck depth of 1 inch, and also making a round curve. You can see this. That's it there. All right, so now it is time to create the built up collar. You can see both patterns for the front and the back. They are all ready now, right? Okay, so I think we'll start with the back pattern. So setting the front piece aside first. So let's start drafting the collar for the back. So here you need to pay close attention, okay? So the first thing we're going to do now is to extend our shoulder. You see this shoulder? We're going to be extending it inwards, just to the direction of my hand there, my finger rather. So I'll use my ruler now. I extend it forward just a little bit, say 1 or 1.5. It just extend it forward. 1 inch is fine. You can see that extension. Okay. Now from that point of my neck width, you see that 3 inches point there, I'm going to be moving out towards that extended shoulder. I'll be moving out by 0.5, while on the other side I will move in by 0.25. You can see that 0.5 on this side, 0.25 on the other side. On that point of 0.5 where we extended the shoulder, I will move up by 2 inch. You can see how I'm placing my tape now, moving up by 2 inch in a straight form. You can see me marking that point of 2 inches. Then I'll go ahead and get a straight line there. You can see this now. All right. So the next thing I'm also going to do is to come to that zip allowance line there. I'll also move up, but this time around by 1.5. You can see the other part we moved up by 2 inch, but on this part we moved up by 1.5. Then I'll connect this point together in a curvy form, right? Using my curve ruler like so. You can see this. Then remember that 0.25 there, right? On the other side, I'll go ahead and connect it to that point. So you just follow through what I'm doing. Trust me, if you get it a little bit confused, just go over it again. I'm sure you get it right. The numbers might be a little bit confusing, but just take your time. I can assure you will get it right, okay? Yeah, and that's it, guys. That is it for the collar of this back piece. You can see, just that's it. Then we'll move over to the front. So the front, please pay attention as well, because this one is a little bit, tricky, but it is actually not difficult, honestly. So you can see I'm extending the shoulder again, just repeating the same thing I did for the back. I'm extending the shoulder a little bit forward. Now, the same thing again, I will move in 0.5 towards the extended shoulder and move away the other side by 0.25. You can see that. So you can see this is what the same thing we did for the back, right? Okay. Now, coming to that point of 0.5, I will move up by 2 inches. right? Okay, so this is where the similarity stops between the front and the back. Okay, you can see this now. Okay, now the next thing is to come to that neck depth. The neck depth of the front there, that 3 inches neck depth, you will now move up by 2 inches. Move up by 2 inches like I'm doing right now. You can see that point moved up by 2 inches. Okay, now on that point of 2 inches upward, where you see my marker, I'm now moving away by 1 inch. I'm moving away by 1 inch. You can see what I'm doing now. All right, so what I will do now is to connect that point of 1 inches I just moved away. I will now connect it to that point of 2 inches above the neck depth. I hope you understand it. That's why I say it's a little bit tricky, but if you go over it, trust me guys, you will get it right. You can see this now, but that doesn't end there. So what we are going to do next now is to connect that point again. Remember the 0.25, we've not forgotten it. You now connect it to the original point now that we are working with. You can see this. And that's it, guys. That is it for now. Okay? Yes. So what we want to do now is to cross-check our shoulder width. Now, you can see the way I'm using my marker to demonstrate that point. We're going to be measuring it. We want to measure it and be sure that it aligns with what we have on the back piece. See where I'm placing my tape? From that curvy part through the shoulder there. Yeah, so all these are the shoulder, and what we have here was 8 inches. I just have to reconfirm it again. Just take your time. When I worked it again, it was 8 inches. So I set this aside for now and brought back my back piece. I want to also measure it as well. You can see the same shoulder shape there. From the curvy part through the shoulder there, you can see me measuring it as well. And then what I have here was 7.5. I'm just going over it again just to be sure. You can see I have 7.5, which means there's a difference. 7.5 for the back, 8 for the front. And the idea is that it has to be the same. So now I have to make a little adjustment on my front side. Where do I make my adjustment? Watch there. Where I'm placing my tape, from that point, I'm moving away by 0.25, just a little bit. It can even be 0.5, but I started with 0.25 just to be sure. You can see me recreating that curve again. I hope you understand, guys. So this time around, I will take my tape and measure it and see if it will be 7.5. And when I did that, guys, gave me that 7 point. So if it wasn't, I would have still moved a little bit downwards. I hope you understand. So that's why the other one was discarded. And trust me, we're done with that part. We're done with that part, you can see. So the next thing now is to create my neck depth. Now, my neck depth, starting from that my startup line, I'm using 8 inches. Totally depends on you. You can use 8.5, you can use 9, even 10. But 8 inches is ideal. So I used 8 inches, right? So from that curve part, look at where I'm placing my tape. I'm moving upward a little bit on that curve by 0.5. I'm using 0.5. You can use 0.75. You can even use 0.1. But 0.5 was okay, so that it will not be too wild. In fact, I could have used 0.25, right? Yes, so that depends on the wideness of that slit. You can see now I'm now connecting it to my neck depth in a curvy form. You can also do it a straight line. You can also use your ruler to make a straight joining, and that will be it. So see the way my marker is going, that is how the cutting is going to go. You can see, just follow through. Once you're there, then you cut the remaining part. And that will be it, guys. Believe me when I say we are done with the drafting. So going ahead to cut this out, I started cutting out with the back piece, but I just realized that, I had to stop the cutting. What I'll do is to place it on my fabric first so that it will be easy. So you can see at this point, I placed it on my fabric, and this was the time I now extended it to my desired length. Also extended the dart lines, and that's it. So going ahead to make my cutout now, you can see, and the fact that I'm cutting it together with the fabric and also my lining under it, it just made everything easy. right? Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of let's say about 0.255 left towards that shoulder line for the joining. Okay, so you have to fix that. And this is the back. You can see we're done. So remember to take away the zip bulge, which is what I did also. And here we have the back piece. Now for the front piece, I also went ahead to make my extension. Remember I said I'm supposed to put extra allowance, so I did that here, extended it to my desired length, also extended my dart, and that was it. You can see, made all the necessary adjustments and just went ahead to cut it all out. So you can see, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that. Please, guys, I really appreciate that a lot. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends and sewing community. I will really appreciate this. Okay, thank you so much, guys. So at this point, you can see we're done. All our pieces are ready. When I open it up, this is what we have. You can see the lining, the front piece. So this is it, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to apply my interfacing. And now where my interface is a gown, so my interfacing has to stop on my waistline. That's why I'm indicating those lines there. And the pad, the wording I'll put for my cup will stop under the bust. So I'm just taking note of it. So all I need to do is just to put my interfacing, then I'll go ahead and join my darts, which is quite straightforward, right? Yeah, so once after my interfacing, put my pad, then I'll go ahead and join it. Just place it right side to right side. It's always good you start sewing from the lowest part, okay? Yeah, so I'll do this for the front, do it also for the back. Then when I'm done, I'll come back to show you how it turned out, okay? Yeah. And here, guys, at this point, you can see I've gone ahead to sew. You can see my interfacing stopped at the waistline, like I said. This is the back piece. I'm still going to be trimming that the armhole side there just to make it align properly. You can see we're done with the back here, and this is what the front looks like. You can see everything there. The lining, you can see is there. So I just put interfacing for both the lining and the main fabric. You can see the front, my pad is there. My cup is already sitting pretty. You can see how this is, right? Yeah, so like I said, I'll be trimming out the armholes, the excess we have on the armhole later on. So the next thing is, of course, to use my lining to turn the main fabric, okay? Yeah, so now we'll go ahead and join the sides and also join the lowest part, but I actually did mine much later on the lowest part there. Then after that, you go ahead and sew the center where you have the, just where my hand is going. You can see how I'm demonstrating with my finger. That's the only part you're going to sew. So that shoulder part and the armhole is going to be left open, okay? Yes, so that's what I'm going to do. So this one for the front. Then for the back, I'm also going to place my lining over my fabric and go ahead and sew the sides, sew the lowest part, and of course go ahead and sew just the top part there, okay? So the only part that will be left open is that shoulder and of course the armhole. So I'll go ahead and finish this up, of course, then I'll come back to show you how it turned out. And at this point, guys, you can see I'm done with that. You can see everything is ready. Here is the back and this is the front. You can already see how beautiful this turned out. You can see this. Yeah, so like I said, the shoulder is still left open and the armhole. So at this point now, I'm going to be fixing my zipper. So you can start fixing your zipper from the top. But of course, I did that and realized there was going to be a little bit of bulge. So the best way was to sew a little bit downwards before putting in your zipper, okay? Yes, so a little bit downward. So you have to measure it depending if yours is going to be a top or a gown, okay? Yeah, so now I'm going ahead to just demonstrate, just to show you how it will look. I'm using my pin just to hold that zipper space for now. You can see how it's already looking. Now, when I'm done with that, then I'll go ahead and place it on the front piece there, then I'll join the shoulders. So the best way to join the shoulders is to what? So just pick it up, make sure that the fabric aligns with the fabric and the lining aligns with the lining. Then you go ahead and make your sew. So in this way, you'll be able to hide the edges inwards, okay? You can see, yeah, so do this for one side and of course the other side as well. Or another way, of course, you can do this is to just go ahead and sew it like that without using lining. But once you sew it, you'll be sure that you will weave it. But the first method is better, you know, and which is what I used. But for demonstrating sake, just to demonstrate how it will look like, I'm just using my pin to hold it down for the moment, okay? I'm using my pin to sew it now. so that you will see how it turned out. You can see using my pin to hold one part of the shoulder. That I'll do the same thing for the other side so that you can actually see the view of what our collar has turned out already, even without sewing. So you can see this. So once I'm done sewing it like so, then you go ahead and flip it to the right side. Okay, so flipping it to the right side, you can already see, guys, you can already see our collar is already in place. You can see this, guys, and that's it. So at this point now, you can now fix your sleeve. After fixing your sleeve, go ahead and join the sides, and that will be it. So I'll go ahead and finish all this up, then you'll see the final look of this dress. And guys, at this point, this beautiful gown was ready. You can see, like I told you, I had to sew from the top first, okay, a little bit downward. So I had to measure from the lowest part, okay. I had to use my zipper to measure from the lowest part upward before fixing before sewing it to that collar. So you can see my zipper actually ended like almost at the edge of my dress, okay. Yes, but if yours is going to have a slit, especially if it is penciled, by all means take note of your slits first before measuring your zipper upward. I hope you understand. So you can see it's an open and close zip, so it will be easy. Once you open it up from there, you can wear it, and that will be it. Okay, yeah, so this is it, guys, for the back side. So just extend the zipper where it stops. Then of course, this is what the front view looks like this was so beautiful. And guys, we have come to the end of this beautiful one. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Hope you find it helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends and sewing communities. I will really appreciate this a whole lot. If you're new here, I want to say thank you, okay. And to my existing subscribers, you know I always appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for always showing up. Thank you, guys, so much. I really appreciate you guys. So till I see you on the next one, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Bye.